Aloha class, I wanted to do a video on in-class assignment 28 and what is the formula for payback method. And so this formula is, it works when you have annual net cash inflows that are the same each year. So you can use this formula if your annual net cash inflows are equal or the same every single year. So you would put your investment required divided by annual net cash inflow. So investment required divided by annual net cash inflow. Management at the Daily Grind wants to install an espresso bar in the restaurant that costs $140,000 and has a 10-year life. It will generate annual net cash inflows of $35,000, and management requires a payback period of 5 years or less on all investments. So anytime you want to make an investment, and this is not only typical for companies. So of course, if we invest in equipment, we want to make sure that it's going to give us the return that we want. Also, if you were to invest in a condo and you were going to rent it out, or an Airbnb, which is not super legal now, but if you bought something to generate rental income, you want to know how many years is it going to take to get that investment back. And if it's going to take 50 years, you would never invest because that would be such a long time to get your money back. And so considering how many years, so management doesn't want to wait more than 5 years. And so that's their criteria that they set up for management. So we're just going to put our investment required and then divided by our annual net cash inflows. So investment required was $140,000 divided by $35,000 inflow. So I'll pull out my calculator and I'll do $140,000 divided by $35,000. And so it'll take them 4 years. What is the payback period? The payback period is 4 years. And will management install an espresso bar? This would be yes, because it is less than 5 years, because, and you can write its payback period is less than 5 years. And so I think this will tell you that on the slide. They have this. So that was our calculation. According to the company's criterion, management would invest in an espresso bar because its payback period is less than 5 years. And so let's go to the next problem. Consider the following two investments, Project X and Project Y. Which one has the shortest payback period? We can go back over here. So these do not have equal cash inflows every year because it's $60,000 one year and $40,000 the next year. So these are not, you can't use that initial formula. So in order to solve for this one, you're going to start with the initial investment and deduct the cash inflows. So you want to overcome 100,000. So in year one, we will deduct 60,000. So at the beginning of year two, we need to recover. So it's taken us 1 year and we still need to recover 40,000. Beginning of year two, we need to recover 40,000 of our investment, and then we'll deduct 40,000 in year two. So we have $0 left to recover of our initial investment. So the payback period for Project X is 2 years. So I'm trying to overcome 100,000. I deducted 60,000. I still have 40,000 more to recover. And so by the end of year two, if we're earning these inflows equally throughout the year, it'll take me 2 years to get back my 100,000. And then Project Y, I'll deduct my 60,000. So let's do so this is Project X, Project Y. We're still in this same thing here. So I start with my 100,000 initial investment. And then this is Project Y. I deduct my 60,000. So at the beginning of year two, I still need to recover 40,000. So minus 35,000, which was the cash inflow of year two. I still have, at the beginning of year three, I still have 5,000 left to recover of my initial investment. So it's going to be more than 2 years. And then the cash inflows are 25,000, 3 to 10. So I don't know if that's equal 25,000 every single year or if that's divided over 3 to 10 years. But we know it's going to be a little more than 2 years to get back our Project Y initial investment of 100,000. So which project has the shortest payback period? It's project X because it only takes 2 years. Project Y is over 2 years because we still have $5,000 to recover. And so you can see that in the slides. It says project X payback period of 2 years, and then Y slightly more than 2 years. So the better project is one that will get you money faster, or the shortest payback period would be the better project. What are the shortcomings of the payback method? So the shortcomings of the payback method are they don't consider the time value of money. So if we're using undiscounted cash flows, which is just the dollar amount without using a discount factor, it ignores the time value of money. Shorter payback period does not always mean a more desirable investment because there could be large payback inflows later on that are ignored. And so you can write down some of these issues with the payback method. So say you got $1 million at the end of year 10, but your payback period was only 3 years, you wouldn't consider that inflow. It just looks at the time period to get that initial investment back. So that's why it ignores cash flows after the payback period. So please write down some of these with the shortcomings. And then a project has an initial investment of $200,000 and the following cash flows. Management will only accept projects with payback periods of 5 years or less. What is the payback period? So, and then if it's less than 5, we should accept. If it's more than 5, we should not accept. And so we're going to start with that initial investment. Maybe I'll insert a table this time. So initial investment, so would be 200,000, and then we'll start year 1. Cash flow inflow is 25,000 cash inflow, and we'll deduct that to try to get back our 200,000. And so our running at the end of year 1, we have 175,000. I think I'm okay doing that math in my head. Year 2 cash inflow is 57,000. So I'll pull out my calculator just to be sure. 175,000 minus 57,000. 118,000. So end of year 2, I still have to recover 118,000. What about year 3? 118,000 minus, so this is a running total because we've received the cash flows, and so we just want to make sure we get back that full 200,000. Well, minus the 20,000 of year 3, 98,000. So cash year 3, year 3 was 20,000, and so end of year 3 will be 98,000. And then let's keep going. I think I need more rows on my table. Insert below. Insert below. So end of year 3, I still have to recover that. Year 4 cash inflow is 62,000. We're getting closer. 98,000 minus 62,000. 36,000. So it's definitely more than 4 years. At the end of year 4, I still need to recover 36,000. Let's add another row. And then cash flow for year 5 was 40,000. So remember, there's an assumption that we receive this inflow evenly throughout the year. So we can use a portion of the year if they're going to receive this 40,000 evenly throughout the year. So if I start deducting end of year 4, right? End of year 4, and somewhere in the between year 4 and year 5, I've recovered my money because 36,000 minus 40,000 becomes 36,000 minus 40,000 becomes negative, which means that that's a good thing because now I've recovered all of my initial investment, and now I've gone over with an additional 4,000 over. So now we know that at the end of year 4, it took us 4 years, at least 4 years. So between year 4 and year 5. And how much between 4 and year 5? So if I do a portion of the year, if this is equally earned throughout the year, I can do 36,000 divided by the full year cash flow to see how much of the portion of year it takes me. So 36,000 divided by 40,000. So it takes me 0.9 years. So 0.9. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 0.9 years. So the answer is 4.9 years to recover payback period to recover the initial investment. Would you accept the project? Remember the threshold is 5 years. It takes us 4.9 years. Yes, so I would accept the project. So hopefully that makes sense with the partial period. If you earn it equally and we want to recover 36,000 divided by the full year would give you 0.9 years. So you could times that by months to see how many months that is, but it takes us a full 4, because at the end of year 4, we still hadn't recovered our money, but by the end of year 5, we had recovered our money, so somewhere between 4 and 5 years, and specifically it's 4.9 years.